Another rainy day in Georgia. I'm going to do a little exposition here, a little diatribe. This is perhaps better aimed at a later viewing. But the question, a couple of things were kind of niggling around my brain. They may have awakened the counselor side of me that always tries or tried and still tries to understand motivations and reasons for behaviors. So I was thinking about kind of those perpetuating stereotypes we've seen through every age of our lives, every developmental phase of our lives. There's undoubtedly what we would classify as good people, bad people, good actors, bad actors. And I've always wondered why a person would choose to knowingly be a bad actor. Do they know? You remember the little clip? It's on YouTube. I don't remember what show it was from, but it was a skit show. It was the guys of the evil people from World War II uniforms. And the guy says, "Hans, are we the baddies?" Didn't know. So do people know or do they not know? Think about when you're coming up. Your earliest memories, kindergarten, first grade, elementary school. Right off the bat, you begin to notice there's people that are just these little kids that kick in shins and throw rocks at you and they do mean things, and it never entered your mind to do such a thing. Whether that's a disposition in your nature or your parents raised you better. Yeah, I use the word better because it's obviously better behavior. But another thing would happen when the little kid on the playground would throw a rock or kick somebody or push somebody down. There's always the little toadies around that think it's funny and they laugh about it. Good morning, Charles. It is a rainy morning. And these little toadies, by their laughter, are implying their approval. I enjoyed that. Do it some more. They say. Let's see. They know it's free will, and if not tolerated, is right. You choose wrong. Yeah. So, but here's what happens developmentally. Follow me on this. It's funny to see things happen to an unreasoning mind. Unreasoning little children. We sit in front of our cartoons and we watch Roadrunner, Coyote, Bugs Bunny, this, that, and the other. Now, mind you, Roadrunner didn't do anything to Coyote. Coyote was trying to eat him. But then the bad things would happen to Coyote, and we would laugh. Because we're little unreasoning creatures. He's fine. Look, he's back. You know, he sat on the rocket. He launched his butt across there to get him, and he blew up. But now he's back again. And so it becomes kind of comedic, and we see toddlers carrying this out on the playground. He'll be fine. He didn't die. He's just crying, and his cry is funny. He's got a snot bubble. Ha, ha, ha. Flash forward into adulthood. We see this same behavior in adults in every walk of life in every industry. I say it's juvenile, not in a denigrating way. It's juvenile in the sense that it still harkens back to that earliest developmental need to have people like you and to be funny. You know, some of the core needs that we look at in counseling is the need to be loved, the need to love, the need to belong. Well, little kid's been finding his belongingness and being a little turd all his life. You know, his cronies have loved him. They laugh at his antics. And there's something missing in him where he's not getting that need met. So he continues to be this into his adulthood. Now it's moderated for sure as an adult. Most adults can develop into functional relationships and they can demonstrate empathy and kindness. But there's still that part of them that knows a quick fix, a quick endorphin rush, is to be that awful little toddler and metaphorically throw a rock or kick somebody in the shins. They didn't do anything to you. You're not seeking justice. There's an inner drive there to be a jerk. So now let's put it into fully adult terms. You've become an asshole. You become an asshole, and it's become a knee-jerk reaction for you, if you're that person, to meet a need within yourself. That belongingness, acceptance, love, whatever it may be, even self-esteem, building that sense of self. That to get that validation, you become a jerk. You get your laughs by doing the adult equivalents of throwing rocks and kicking shins. The other people who are not that way, they are finding that fulfillment through acts of service in their community, through being kind and thoughtful to other people, because they're living under that principle of that's how I would want to be treated, doing to others as you would have them doing to you. No one who is that toddler brat who becomes later the asshole wants that done back to them. They'll say, oh, it doesn't bother me. Yes, it does. I was a counselor all my working life. Believe me, it affects them. And so you got to kind of wonder, not why they do a thing. We've just explained how it starts and the perpetuation of it. But what's missing from a person's life? What is missing from their life that they're not getting? Or maybe the other question is, has this become so ingrained in their character that it's simply a default position? Very true. Very true. Good morning, Zero. So yeah, and how easy is it to fall in that mom mentality? We'll all laugh along. I remember, again, let's look at our developmental. When I was a little kid, my dad and mom would be watching a sitcom, and I didn't understand the joke, but everybody on TV was laughing. Mom and dad were laughing, so I laughed. It's funny. Of course, I was pretty intelligent, so I'm trying to figure out what is the funny part here, and over time you begin to get the jokes. But when the mob is laughing, going along with something, even if it's bad, and there's been many psychological experiments that demonstrate this, people go along for that belongingness, that need to belong. Several examples of classic studies that were done, I forget the names of them. I've been out of college way too long. The one where the guy would keep increasing the shock charge on the individual across the room up into including what he thought was a lethal range because he was being reinforced and encouraged to do it. Why do bad people do bad things? Pressure. But the pressure to do what? To fit in, to belong, to be accepted, to have approval. We see this in people in every community. And they're out here in this little community of comic book people. There's no group of people that you're ever going to get together that's going to be homogenous. There are a multitude of personalities and behaviors. There are a multitude of upbringings, victims of abuse, victims of privilege. And I don't mean white privilege or racial privilege. I mean privilege in the sense that people who have never had to lift a finger to do a damn thing in their lives, versus people who have done backbreaking toil all their lives for very little recompense. and you're getting to my point, of course, there is something missing. Now, I'm a Christian, and I make no secret of it, Cross. I make no secret of the fact that I'm a Christian. I'm thoroughly convinced that the first thing that's missing in everyone is that relationship with God. But let's take that a step further. There are Christians who behave exactly the same. There are good ones and bad ones. That's because their human nature is still living. They have not died to self, as we say in Christian circles. The only difference between a Christian and a non-Christian is that a Christian has been redeemed. It is an outside act. God did that. We just accept it. Now, a person who's a Christian, of course, will strive to live up to Christian values. We all do, and we all fail. We accept that. We become accepting of other people's failures. But then we got to go back to the bullies. Whether they're Christian or not, there's still something missing in them that causes them to behave this way. Why, for example, let's use an example in the adult world. In a corporate setting, there's this one person on the job who so desperately needs to be the center of attention that they will lie, they will provoke others, they will create conflict. And, the rest of the people are just going, God, that guy's an asshole. Why does he even do that? What is the point? Well, the point is this person has learned that the only way that they can meet that need within themselves is to behave this way, because in the past, it's been a reinforced behavior. Now, nobody's immune to this. When I was a little kid, I don't guess toddler, I was in early elementary school. We had to ride the bus with high school kids. I mean, some of those people like 35-year-old men, I got picked on, I got bullied. But then puberty hit, I grew up, and I became a bully for about 10 minutes. And thankfully, I do have a conscience, I do have empathy, and I felt terrible about what I had done. I apologized. One guy I never got to apologize to as a kid. I did seek him out as an adult. I'm sorry, I was a jerk, man. And what was funny is one of the guys who had bullied me, well, actually, there's two. One guy was a Christian, and he came to me and said, back when we were in high school, I was a jerk to you, and I'm really sorry. Yeah, don't worry about it. You're forgiven. Hold on, plenty of money going your way. Another guy comes in, and I'm not going to say his name. He's deceased now. We're all starting to get a little older. Time runs out. But he came in, and I was fresh out of the Navy. When last time he saw me, I was a little gangly kid. I'm fresh out of the Navy. I'm 225 pounds of muscle. I'm 6'2". He goes, hey, I used to pick on you when we were kids. And then he looked at me and goes, I don't think I'll be doing that anymore. I said, you're right, you won't. That kind of met my inner need for a little revenge there. We all have that. But then there are, and let me move on to the other category of people who behave badly. There are the people who honestly think they're white knighting. They think they're the good guys. You did something I don't approve of or agree with, or you believe a way I don't believe. Therefore, you are bad by my subjective terms, and I will attack you. I will incessantly go after you to the point where it may affect you psychologically, emotionally, even financially, or in your career. People do these things, but they think they're white knighting. Hans, are we the baddies? They don't know. Now, that leaves us with kind of our three groups. The assholes divided into two groups: the ones who know they're assholes, the ones who don't know they're assholes. They think they're white knighting. And then there's the non-assholes, which, by the way, is not the same as victims. You push on some people hard enough to get your own inner need met, and sometimes you get thumped upside the head, whether that's literally or metaphorically, it happens. Some people learn from that. They do. Sometimes that behavior leans on over into the criminal world, criminal activity. There was a study a professor I had in college did. He wasn't looking at corporal punishment in development versus criminality. He was looking at it in the light of recidivism. And it turns out that the people who received corporal punishment as children, in other words, they got that ass spanked for bad behavior, were less likely to recommit a crime or recidivate because they're learning creatures. They learn, oh, wait, don't do that or something bad will happen to you. Yes, people do need prayer. The good, the bad, and the ugly, because none of us are good. You know, Jesus said there is none good. No, not one. Or the Bible says, excuse me. Who is good? Someone called him good master. He said, who's good? Now, he wasn't saying he wasn't. He was immediately challenging the dude's concept of what a good man was. Jesus was saying to the guy, are you calling me good by your standards or by mine? You calling me good because I'm doing nice things for people and you want some of that? Well, you truly recognize that, which is good. I'm about to sneeze my head off. I was never one of those double sneezers, by the way. You ever heard those people? They sneeze, achoo, achoo. Never. I thought people were faking that. In the last year, I became a double sneezer. Analyze that. So anyway, let's put that in the context of where we're at in this community of comic book creators. Let's spare the rod, spoil the child, exactly. Now, let's put this into the world we live in as comic book creators, collectors, enthusiasts, nerds, our little world. And before I do that, let me talk about one more group of people. We divide those people into how they respond to or they react to the bullies. There's a couple of different ways. You guys have all seen these. There's the Great Dane looking down at the Chihuahua that's barking at him. The Great Dane is not impressed. He doesn't care. Then there's kind of the mama bear thing. You know, you're attacking all the things I love. Roar, I will bite your head off. They react that way. And then there are those who are truly victimized by this behavior. And they're hurt. And they pull back. And they withdraw. They retreat. And the fourth group of those that'll thump you right back upside the head. And they'll come right back at you just as vicious as you are. Oh, Lord, I go into fits of 7 or 8. Yeah. So we all kind of fit into one of those little groups there as far as our behaviors go. And we've already established we know why people behave the way they do. Something desperately missing in their lives. They get that need met, and then we all react a certain way. I tend to be kind of the, look, how do I say this without flexing? All right, look, I'm retired. I was paid for it. Get ever so humble, it's mine. My income is not dependent on how I do with the comic book. So you're not going to cancel me. I'm not afraid of you physically because this is the internet. Your keyboard clacking doesn't hurt me in any way. You showed up at the door. I mean, several bad things could happen for both of us. So that's really a stupid thought experiment about what would happen if I actually met this guy. You ever heard that? Or even thought it? Because I have. Boy, if you said that to me in person, I would bust you right in the mouth. And we might. But the big dogs, they don't even respond to the yapping. They just ignore it. But then those who have something to lose, something of value, they've poured their heart and soul out into their creation. And here comes this horrible person just being horrible to them for no apparent reason. Or they're trying to white knight. They think they have a reason. But to the person under attack, look, I'm just trying to get my little book out here. Oh, my book looking at it pretty. Well, they're going to react a certain way. They're going to become very distressed about what you're doing. And of course, then those that are the little kid on the playground that throws rocks and has his friends laugh. They go, look what happened there, little Beavis and Butthead laugh. I stirred up this guy. Now, I happen to think that mature Christians are less likely to be that way. A person can call themselves a Christian. They might even be a Christian. I'm going to judge a person's relationship with God. What I can't do is judge the fruit of the tree. Your fruit certainly isn't showing that you're very Christian. I support everyone in this. Hey, Manny, what's going on, buddy? I support everyone's efforts to produce their work to the best of their ability. If they're doing it in good faith, by the way. We're not even going to get into people that are producing filth. The friends of the playground type people, the abusers, you don't have my support. But everyone else does. I don't care if I like your politics. I don't care if I like you as a person. I'm going to support your efforts. I'm not asking you over for tea and crumpets in my home. I'm simply wishing you all the best with your project, whatever it may be. But think about it for a moment. There are entire channels built around people who attack other people. And then you get their whole audience going because they enjoy it. Now, if they're doing that to someone who has been a horror to everybody, then everybody goes, yes, justice. But what if they're doing it to someone who hasn't? You got to kind of think about things. Just some random thoughts on a rainy Georgia day. Chat, how are you today? Of course, I had someone ask me, well, what do you do about that? I have a friend who just selflessly gives and gives and gives. And they get attacked by random people. And they react to it. It hurts them. I'm leaving them behind. F that person, blah, blah, blah. And I get that. I get that response 100%. But remember, I'm kind of the Great Dane with the Chihuahua nipping at me. It doesn't affect me. You don't have the ability. What the Great Dane is saying to the Chihuahua is you don't have the ability to cause me harm. The best you can do is avoid me. At any given time, the Great Dane can reach down and swallow the Chihuahua whole. Gone. And that's kind of how I approach I call them ankle biters. But I get the other responses. Some people, again, they get wounded and they pull away. You've hurt me so bad, I don't even want to be here anymore. And they leave from whatever community or endeavor that we're dealing with. Then there are the people that get really pissed off and they'll fight you. And of course, the bully goes, and their friends go, because they enjoy it. Mm-hmm. But understanding where other people are in that spectrum of behavior, understanding where you are in that spectrum. Now, there is the aloof, as Suzanne is saying there. I just pull away from the channels. I don't watch them. And that's my response, too. I got better things to do with my time. Time is a precious commodity, and the older I get, the less of it I'm going to have. So I spend it where it most benefits me. It brings the most to my life. Edification, education, enjoyment. I enjoy those things. They add to my life. Drama doesn't. Drama makes you need a Rolaids. Hey, Pops. Good to see you. There's a physiological response to this, too. If you ever watch and see these things, and this is a little harder to describe. But, when I'm a counselor, I was a Rotarian therapist. Cardiff model is what I used. And you sit very close to your client and you attend. Your body language says, I have nothing better to do on earth than listen to you talk to me right now. There's nowhere I need to be. You're not an inconvenience. I'm listening to you. I'm hearing you. But also, you're observing everything that's taking place in front of you. A person talks about something bad that happens to them and they wince. It's a small one, but you notice it. And your brain has to go, that was important. I need to come back to that. But then you can also see the bullies when they're out there doing their thing. You will see that endorphin rush hit when their reward comes. A little crowd. Everybody remember Salacious Crumb, the little critter that hung out on Jabba the Hutt's shoulder. He thought everything Jabba did was funny until later on we got to see that thing get eaten. Oh, it's funny. The little Salacious Crumb's like and the Jabbas go oh. They're getting that endorphin rush, and you can see it happen to them. Hey, Pops. By the way, I sent you the card for Chromicon 33. And other than that, I've got a contractor coming this afternoon, and I've got a page to finish. Can't see. Maybe you can see kind of some darkness on a piece of paper back there. Drawing board looks like, it's the Ark of the Covenant. I'm working back there today, is what I'm saying. So let me go a little bit further here. I gotta keep anybody here long. For goodness sakes, who am I? Why would anybody listen to me? I'm a nobody in the grand scheme of things. Who am I? There's a little fella here locally. Apex, good to see you, my friend. A little fella here locally. And he comes from kind of a poorer family. He likes to come over to the art school where I teach. Well, thank you, Suzanne. I appreciate you. There's power in being no one. There's a little kid that comes over. He can't afford to come to the school, but he likes to hang out. I'll give him materials. We're talking, I think he's maybe a fifth grader. I'll give him stuff to draw with. Sometimes I'll let him paint if I got a spare canvas. I'll give him whatever time I can to. But he enjoys being there. Not so much for the art. He'll go, ooh, that's cool. Oh my God, he found out I was doing a comic book and he lost his mind. I don't ever take my comic book stuff to the art school. Just that I don't mix my personal work with my school educating work. Anyway, he got so excited I'm doing that. And he said, can I do this too? And I told him the same thing I tell every person that ever asked that question. And I'm going to expand on it a little bit here. Anybody, almost anybody, if you have the physical appendages to do so, can draw, paint, write, play music, do whatever. It's just a matter of how quickly can you get the result you want. The reason most people can't is because they pick up a paintbrush, and because the Mona Lisa doesn't happen in front of them the first time they paint, they go, I can't do this. Or they grab a guitar and they're not Eddie Van Halen within 2 seconds. They go, I can't do this. Why? Because it's hard. It's not. It's not really hard. Music is not about this. It's about this here. Art is not about what you do with your hands. It's what you do with your eyes. Anybody can do it. But to bring that point home to what I've been talking about, this kid obviously that comes over, he lives like a couple houses down. There's something missing in his home life that makes him so desperately seek out this place where there's fun, there's approval, there's acceptance, and it's unconditional. It's not a requirement that you must give me something in order to give you that positive regard. So that's the way I treat people. I give unconditional positive regard. I will always think the best of you. till you convince me to do otherwise by your behavior. I'll always be genuine with you. Does that make sense? The way I put it to everyone is I will always treat people exactly as nicely as they allow me to do, or as they allow me to. Don't run off signs there. Not sure which grammar faux pas I just committed, but I'm pretty sure Ms. Touchstone would have wrapped my knuckles for that. So make a choice today. Do a little introspection. If you're an asshole, what's missing in the world? What's making you be that? If you're trying to white knight it, are you tilting at windmills? There are real causes that need fighting. But attacking people who have done nothing to you or to anyone, that ain't one of them. If you're an asshole just because you're getting that approval from your little salacious crumbs, maybe think about what's missing in your world and how you could get that need met in a more positive way. If you're someone who gets victimized by that kind of behavior, maybe learn how to be a big dog. Just shake it off. I don't know. You do what's best for you until that doesn't work anymore. That's always the rub, isn't it? Anyway, that's all I got for you today. Tune in tomorrow to Doc's Coffee Shop, 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, for coffee, for fun, for some laughs. And we'll see you guys around Monday. But Mariah Blood and Mud, sign up today. It's in the description below.